Covering a total area of 6 million square kilometers and stretching across 9 different countries in South America is the mighty Amazon rainforest. The river that gives its name is just one of thousands of watercourses that meander through the largest tropical rainforest on Earth. Since the green thicket of the Amazon rainforest embodies more than half of the world's remaining rainforest area, it plays an all the more important role in the overall global climate. 12% of global freshwater resources are bound here, while around 10% of all known species are at home in the Amazon rainforest. But not only exotic animals such as colorful birds of paradise, the fascinating jaguar, or the mighty anaconda are at home here. Around 320 indigenous population groups also live in the densely forested Amazon basin, many of whom still spend their everyday life in a very traditional way. While researchers have already been able to gather numerous important insights into the vegetation and the high biodiversity of this tropical jungle world, the Amazon rainforest still hides countless mysteries that are still waiting to be discovered and solved. In today's video, we show you which mysterious finds have already been unearthed there and which unique insights result from them. Before we get started, be sure to hit that like button and ring the notification bell to keep up to date with all our future uploads. Also, stick around until the end to learn about a secretive tribe that may still live in the Amazon to this day. Secret traces in the soil. Terra preta is the name given to fertile soil in the Amazon basin, which is composed of charcoal and vegetable charcoal, human feces, dung, and compost, and is also interspersed with potsherds and animal bones. Since very high temperatures generally prevail in the humid tropical regions, weathering takes place very quickly there. Due to these natural characteristics, important nutrients cannot be stored naturally in the soil of the Amazon rainforest. In order to keep the soil in question fertile and usable for agriculture, people began to incorporate ashes, kitchen waste, feces, bones, and dung into the soil. Nature conveniently took care of the rest. Animals and microorganisms living in the soil ensure that the organic substances are partially broken down, stabilized, and shifted into the depths. With regard to the fertility of the soil, terra preta quickly proved to be extremely efficient. These special soils are able to store large amounts of nutrients. Due to the typical dark color, terra preta is also called the Indian black earth of Amazonia. For the local farmers who keep the soil fertile in this way, this approach has another advantage. They're not forced to leave the areas in question after a short time. A detailed analysis of terra preta samples again brought a surprising finding. Some of the examined potsherds, which have been mixed with the ground, could be dated back to the period between 450 BC and 950 AD. Until this study, experts hadn't realized that as early as 2,000 years ago, human civilizations lived in the thickets of the Amazon rainforest that were also capable of making intricate pottery. The fact that the relevant ethnic groups had also recognized how the potsherds could be used in addition to other substances to keep the soil fertile over a long period of time finally made the archaeological sensation perfect. Unknown civilizations. For many centuries, a stubborn assumption has been implanted in the minds of the denizens of Western civilizations. Thus, the picture was drawn that before the invasion of the Spanish, the Amazon rainforest was populated only by small, non-contiguous nomadic groups. Accordingly, these indigenous tribes would have settled sporadically in the poor estuaries of the Amazon and were far from representing a superordinate advanced civilization, a historical picture that's beginning to crumble as research progresses. Thanks to our modern technical means, we're now able to view regions of the Amazon rainforest that were completely inaccessible in the past. In this way, researchers can search for ancient geoglyphs, among other things. These equally exciting and mysterious floor drawings, which are often hundreds of meters in size and depict a wide variety of shapes and objects, allow important conclusions to be drawn about their long-forgotten creators. the researchers realized that the corresponding geoglyphs were preferably made on the higher hill regions of the Amazon basin. At the same time, the evaluation of these widely scattered scratching images shows that the indigenous population built their settlements hundreds of kilometers inland and by no means only inhabited the banks of the Amazon. In turn, based on the number and location of the soil drawings, the researchers concluded that the population density at the time was significantly higher than we had previously dared to dream of. Modern estimates put those lost civilizations at their peak between 500,000 and 2 million members. An artificial food forest. With its magnificent vegetation and different fruits, the Amazon rainforest looks like a natural Garden of Eden. In detail, not only cocoa, coffee, and countless exotic fruits come from the tropics, but also many vegetable fats that are processed in cosmetic care products. Anyone who previously thought that the corresponding edible and usable plants in the Amazon rainforest simply sprout from the ground naturally should now listen very carefully. In fact, recent research suggests that most of the crops we harvest today in the Amazon basin were actually planted there by humans more than 4,500 years ago. To understand how human land use in the Amazon rainforest evolved over time, a team of experts from England's University of Exeter conducted a detailed research study. The surprising result: those areas that were considered prime examples of untouched nature for so long actually only blossomed through the targeted influence of the indigenous people. The indigenous people used the technique of slash and burn to provide the soil of the rainforest with nutrients and to grow numerous crops. In this way, corn, sweet potatoes, pumpkins, and cassava were soon springing up from the jungle floor. As is well known, the clearing provided that parts of the natural rainforest vegetation are removed in order to create agricultural land. However, the clearing of the indigenous people cannot be compared with the dramatic deforestation of the rainforest that's taking place there today. As a result, the farmers of the time were meticulous about their interventions, not manipulating the natural state of the forest too much. The fact that the corresponding crops are still growing there after more than 4,000 years proves that the indigenous farmers were vastly superior to us in terms of sustainability, environmental protection, and respect for nature. Lost civilization. For a long time, most researchers were convinced that the deepest regions of the Amazon rainforest are still completely untouched. However, some puzzling finds suggest that an advanced civilization once inhabited the thicket of the South American jungle and lived over a period of 1,000 years. It's thanks to a sad circumstance that we were able to discover the evidence that the unknown people once left behind: the ongoing deforestation of the Amazon rainforest. The unique lifestyle of the time remained hidden from our view for many centuries. Today, we know that the former inhabitants of the rainforest left countless mysterious works behind. These are sometimes geometric structures such as squares, circles, and lines. The age of these mysterious walls and moats is estimated to be up to 3,500 years. However, it's completely unclear who created these numerous structures, which are known as geoglyphs, and what purpose these structures served. What is certain is that comparable objects have also been discovered in some other parts of the globe. The most famous of all known geoglyphs are the so-called Nazca lines in the Peruvian desert. So far, more than 1,500 of these unmistakable structures have been located there. In addition to the typical geometric patterns, the soil is also adorned with countless images of people and animals. While researchers are certain that the originators of these structures came from the ranks of the Paracas and Nazca cultures, the experts in the case of the geoglyphs in the Amazon rainforest are still completely in the dark. It's very likely that countless more of these earth structures are hidden in the previously unexplored parts of the South American jungle. The works of art may have been part of rituals or ceremonies, but we don't really know for sure. Enigmatic ruins. No less fascinating than the isolated ethnic groups that hide in the Amazon rainforest are the mysterious ancient artifacts that have already been found there. However, not every temple ruin discovered in the jungle helps to better understand the way of life of the ancient high cultures. In fact, some people see the mysterious objects recovered from the ground in the Amazon basin as evidence that the civilizations that lived here centuries ago were in regular contact with supernatural beings, possibly aliens from another planet or gods from another realm of existence. A sensational find that some archaeologists recorded in the southwest of the Amazon rainforest in 2018 shows us once again how little we really know about the great secrets of the jungle. In detail, the researchers came across the remains of no less than 81 previously unknown settlements. It's quite conceivable that the individual branches were once a coherent state. The experts assume that the time-honored sites were inhabited between the 13th and 16th centuries. The total population could have been up to 1 million inhabitants during its peak. That's a truly impressive number of people. The beautiful buildings, adorned with numerous stone decorations, testify to the extraordinary craftsmanship that these unknown people possessed. At the moment, nobody can say how many ruins in the impenetrable thicket of the Amazon rainforest are still waiting to be discovered. However, there's a chance that dozens of other civilizations are simply buried under the surface of the Amazon, waiting to be unearthed one day in the distant future. Common vampire. This is one of the more unusual things found in the Amazon rainforest, and this entry may seem like somewhat of a joke, but it's certainly not. The common vampire is the name given to a series of bats that are known to prey on the living, much like their mythical vampire counterparts. These bats are the only known mammals to drink the blood of other living creatures, making them completely unique in the animal kingdom. When they go on the hunt, they'll most often feast on the blood of cows, horses, donkeys, or birds, and it's not their bites that make them particularly dangerous, but rather the pathogens that can be found on their fangs from their previous meals. These pathogens are incredibly toxic and can cause a person or animal to pass away within days. So even though their bites are relatively harmless, the bacteria contained within them is more than enough to take the life of a horse, cow, or human. Uncontacted tribes. As mentioned briefly before, the Amazon rainforest not only served as a thriving home for humans many centuries ago, it continues to do so today. The experts agree that some of these indigenous peoples have never had any contact with the outside world to this day. Current estimates say there are over 100 uncontacted tribes in Brazil alone. However, the encounter between peoples from urban civilizations and isolated peoples always carries a high risk. On the one hand, some tribes tend to violently defend their own ranks from invaders, but even the peaceful establishment of contact is associated with the risk that dangerous pathogens are introduced into the midst of primitive peoples, against which their immune systems are not armed. According to this, about 50% of the Nukok tribe fell victim to such diseases, and the Akuro tribe in the northeast of the Amazon basin even fell victim to 80%. However, the devastating consequences of these coincidences would only be realized as the years passed. Up until the 1980s, the Brazilian authorities' strategy was to make direct contact as soon as a new group was discovered. Once the danger of the epidemics that had been brought in had been recognized, it's nowadays necessary to observe the isolated peoples from a distance, for example with drones, unnoticed. When we take a look at the turbulent past of many tribes, it becomes clear to us why many indigenous ethnic groups shy away from making contact with outsiders. In the past centuries, many members of the tribe have been kidnapped or killed, which has forced quite a few primitive peoples to flee further and further into the interior of the rainforest. And even if the inhabitants of urban civilizations are unlikely to meet the isolated tribesmen directly, the greedy arm of the industrialized world is increasingly restricting the homeland of the indigenous populations. It's mainly due to the influence of oil companies, gold prospectors, and illegal loggers that the natural home of the uncontacted tribes is shrinking noticeably. So it is that some primitive peoples, who were once known for their friendly and peaceful nature, now immediately grab their bow and arrows when they spot an uninvited guest. In view of the increasing threat, many experts are concerned when it comes to the future of the indigenous peoples in the Amazon rainforest. Unlike other isolated tribes such as the Sentinelese, who live on a secluded island, the peoples of the Amazon basin are forced to confront the developments of urban civilizations. Will the isolated peoples one day feel compelled to actively seek contact with the outside world? Will ongoing deforestation mean the end of these unique tribes? Or will they be able to successfully defy the negative developments? Only time can answer these pressing questions. Alright folks, now it's your turn. What do you think of the exciting findings from the Amazon rainforest? Let us know your thoughts, suggestions, and feedback on today's video in the comments below. Also, while you're at it, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to stay up to date from now on. Finally, please take a look at the other interesting posts on our channel, which you can access by clicking on one of the pictures in the credits. Thank you for watching. Have a good one, and see you next time.